Carrot, 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 carrot. Great. The calico cat rolled its eyes, flicking its tail impatiently.
Sukinghi, are you out of your mind?
My bestie and I were upstanding 21st century youths. She just got a convertible two-wheeler and insisted on taking me for a spin. Little did I know her driving sucked. We crashed right into another world. When I opened my eyes, I'd transmigrated into a lowly palace maid, looking at the damp, cold servant quarters, the drafty windows, and the rough uniform on me. I grabbed a piece of white silk nearby, ready to end it all again. Suddenly, by my ear, came a familiar voice.
OMG, peekaboo. I'm gonna pee in your nose, you. Holy crap, where the hell am I? Is this even China anymore? Hey, bestie. Why are you here? Wait, don't die on me yet!
I whipped my head around, looking at the floor, at that skinny calico cat, thinking I was hallucinating. I continued hanging the silk on the beam. The next second, the cat let out a piercing meow, and that familiar voice rang out again.
You have 3 moles on your butt. 2 on the left, 1 on the right.
I stared at the cat, freezing in place. Even my ex-boyfriend didn't know about those 3 moles. Then, as if seeing a ghost, I clicked my tongue at the cat 3 times.
Ah, didn't you swear that even if I turned to ashes, you could pick me out from a pile of dust? Now I'm a cat and you don't know me?
You really became a cat? My voice trembled, reaching out to touch her ears. The calico cat smacked my hand away, its furry face full of disgust, then started spinning in circles anxiously.
Forget about my species for a sec. I just downloaded the host's memories. We totally transmigrated into an ancient palace.
Ancient palace? Yeah! She blinked her cat eyes, unable to hide her excitement.
You're a scullery maid. Su Jinghe with 0 backing. That cousin of yours who's also a maid, Su Yujiao, to climb the social ladder and get promoted, is throwing you under the bus to be the fake wife of Wei Zhong, the head eunuch running this harem. The original girl chose death over dishonor and straight up jumped into the palace pond. And this cat body of mine was a stray she used to feed, so it jumped in after her. Now we've hijacked their bodies. You got the human, I got the cat. The guy who saved you is right outside. It's that young eunuch in the gray uniform, paging. When he fished her out of the water, she was already dying. Everyone else was too scared of the head eunuch to help, so they dumped you on him.
I followed my bestie's paw and looked over. Paging stood outside, tall and straight, with striking, deep-set eyes. Even in a eunuch's uniform, with those broad shoulders and narrow waist, he definitely didn't look castrated. I gulped. Ah, he's coming! He's coming! He's so hot!
You lucky bitch scoring big?
Paging walked in, holding a rough porcelain bowl, filled with steaming ginger soup.
Awake? His voice was deep.
With a touch of coldness. When he handed the bowl over, his fingers deliberately avoided mine.
The servant quarters don't have much. Drink this to ward off the cold.
My bestie rubbed against my leg, her cat eyes practically sipping tea.
I hear these young eunuchs are super obedient. Test him out. Quick, test him!
I cleared my throat and probed. I don't want ginger soup. I want meat. Paging paused for a second, then nodded immediately.
I'll go to the Imperial kitchen and figure something out.
With that, he turned to leave. Just as he turned, my sharp eyes caught his robe slightly parting at the waist, combined with his prominent Adam's apple, and that sheer masculine energy, plus what I accidentally glimpsed when he bent over earlier. Holy crap, he is definitely not a eunuch! Wait, I quickly called out to him, lowering my voice. You're not a eunuch? He stopped in his tracks and looked back at me, his gaze suddenly turning sharp as a knife. Paging's warm hand instantly clamped over my mouth. I blinked furiously, using my eyes to sincerely promise that my lips were totally sealed. Seeing this, he slowly released his grip, his dark, unfathomable eyes swirling with complex emotions.
He asked coldly in a low voice, "What do you want?"
I patted my chest without hesitation, swearing, don't worry, I can keep a secret. I definitely won't tell a soul. In this dog-eat-dog palace, we're now in the same boat. His gaze was heavy as he took a long look at me.
His lips parted slightly. You want meat? You got it.
With that, he turned and strode out the door. Not long after, he actually returned holding a small plate of mouth-watering roast chicken. Smelling the meat, my cat Bestie meowed excitedly beside me.
Well, look at this. You've got a cat bestie, plus a fake eunuch real man backing you up. Talk about maxing out your luck stats.
She rambled enthusiastically in my head. Just as I eagerly tore off a drumstick and took a bite, a harsh, shrill female voice suddenly rang out from outside.
He, get out here right now.
Still chewing my chicken, I looked over and saw a heavily dressed up maid, trailed by a pale, beardless, sinister-looking head eunuch. I looked at my bestie in confusion. She motioned with her snout.
That's your cousin Suyu Jiao and head eunuch Wei Zhong.
Plastering a fake smile on her face, Suyu Jiao tried to grab my hand. I quickly shoved the drumstick into my mouth, hiding both hands behind my back. She awkwardly retracted her hand, a flash of malice in her eyes, and sighed, "Oh, cousin."
My silly sister. Why are you making things so hard for yourself? Being so stubborn? So Wei taking a liking to you is a blessing you couldn't earn in lifetimes. Sure, he's a bit older, but he's a very prominent figure around here, and his pockets are quite deep. Gold, silver jewellery, premium silks all ready for you. Even passes to leave the palace and visit family. He can easily get for you. Do you know how many girls are dying for this? Once I piggyback off Sir Wei's influence and become a female official, we sisters could totally run this harem.
Crossing her arms, she cast a contemptuous look at Pei Zheng and the rundown room, looking me up and down in my coarse uniform. She scoffed. Seriously?
Cousin, look at this dump you're living in. Hanging around with a loser sweeping eunuch like Pei Zheng. Where is that going to get you? Over the years, I've never treated you poorly. If you insist on rejecting this great match, you'll keep starving, like a beggar. So Wei is a man of status here. Being with him guarantees a life of luxury. Yet you'd rather stay here and suffer.
They kept blabbering, just repeating the same old crap. To put it bluntly, she was just using me as her stepping stone to power. I took a sip of water, cleared my throat, and looked up at Suyu Jiao, replying coldly, "Oh, if it's such a great deal, why don't you go be his fake wife?" That shut Suyu Jiao right up, and she froze in shock. Ignoring her reaction, I continued, "That Wei Zhong has already tortured 3 of his wives to death in this palace, beaten black and blue every single day. Is that the blessing you're talking about?" My cat bestie quickly meowed twice.
Chiming in, yeah, absolutely.
In the original girl's memories, Wei Zhong wasn't just brutally cruel, he was a straight-up psycho. The first 2 maids were tortured to death, and the third one went completely insane, dumped into the cold palace. Wei Zhong's face darkened, sneering Su Xinghe.
My taking an interest in you is doing you a favor. Don't push your luck, bitch.
Suyu Jiao quickly played peacemaker. Oh my.
Calm down, Eunuch Wei. Those are just nasty rumours. So Wei is as sweet as can be. Besides, even though you're my cousin, I've always treated you like my own sister. Why would I ever hurt you?
Not gonna hurt me? I sneered internally. But on the outside, tears started falling, right in front of their absolutely stunned faces. I dramatically threw myself into Pei Zheng's arms. Pei Zheng stumbled when I bumped into him, instinctively wrapping his arm around my waist. His broad, warm hand supported my back firmly. Sounding slightly flustered and awkward, he asked,
What is it? Burying my face in his chest.
Smelling his fresh soap scent and feeling the warmth of his palm on my back, I intentionally raised my voice, making sure Suyu Jiao and Wei Zhong heard every single word loud and clear. "I'm not going with you. I'm already Pei Zheng's woman. He saved my life. I was so desperate to repay him. And one thing just led to another. Eunuch Wei, I know. You only like pure, untouched girls. I'm damaged goods now. So even if I go with you, you just think I'm bad luck. And eventually take it out on my cousin. If Eunuch Wei gets pissed off and ruins your future, cousin, your dreams of climbing the ranks would be over. How about this? Cousin, you're young and pretty, and you admire Director Wei so much. Why don't you take my place and be his wife? Eunuch Wei, look at my cousin's curves. This face? Isn't she 100 times better than me?" The moment those words dropped, the room went dead silent. My bestie tilted her cat head and stared at me. Utter disbelief plastered all over her face.
Su Xinghe, you're seriously as shameless as ever.
Suyu Jiao's face turned deathly pale. Her eyes locked in horror on my entangled posture with Pei Zheng, like she had just seen a ghost. Wei Zhong's gaze, however, followed my words and checked Suyu Jiao out from head to toe. a filthy gleam of interest flashing in his eyes. Peijing's body stiffened too, the tips of his ears quietly turning red. But he didn't push me away. Instead, he pulled me even closer. In his deep voice, there was an undeniable sense of protection.
That's right, she's my woman now.
You shameless slut. Sujin-hei, how can you be so shameless? Just to avoid direct away, you actually stooped so low as to screw a sweeping eunuch. You disgust me.
I rolled my eyes at her, giving her a full once-over. I may be shameless, but at least it was consensual. You, on the other hand, will do any dirty, underhanded thing just to climb the social ladder. If you ask me, you and Director Wei are a match made in heaven. Suyu Jiao couldn't believe it. The usually subservient and spineless me actually had the guts to talk back like this. She raised her hand to slap me across the face. In the nick of time, my bestie lying by my feet suddenly fluffed up her fur, her bright green eyes flashing. She lunged forward, acting totally possessed and feral, extended her sharp claws, and swiped right at Suyu Jiao's face.
You toxic pick-me, how dare you bully my bestie? Go to hell!
My bestie, the little calico cat might be skinny, but she was agile, with claws as sharp as a tiger cub's. Suyu Jiao screamed in pain right there.
Help, somebody help me. This damn cat is crazy.
Wei Zhong panicked and rushed to pull Suyu Jiao away, shouting as he grabbed her, "This is mutiny!"
Mutiny. Guards, beat this beast to death.
But my bestie wasn't about to lose. Using her tiny frame, she parkoured back and forth between the two, aiming right for Wei Zhong's face, and leaving a few bloody scratches on him too, while letting out fierce guttural hisses. Suyu Jiao and Wei Zhong were already intimidated by Pei Zheng's towering presence. Now, getting chased and mauled by a psycho calico cat, they were absolutely terrified. Wei Zhong clutched his face, dragged Suyu Jiao, and bolted out in a blind panic. Late into the night, the palace slowly fell quiet. After dinner, my bestie used her feline night vision to take a stroll outside. She scored some major intel. She came back, pawed at my skirt, and with sparkling eyes said,
Bestie, our moment has arrived. I just overheard the night patrol eunuch saying that Wei Zhong's backer, the head eunuch at the noble consort's palace, Eunuch Chen, is out of the palace on business tonight. His courtyard is completely empty right now. By my calculations, this old fart is about to be promoted to Deputy Chief of the Internal Affairs Bureau. This is the perfect time to secure the bag and dig up some dirt.
My bestie spun around excitedly, baring her fangs in a mischievous grin.
Eunuch Chen has been working for the noble consort all these years. Acting in her name, he's definitely raked in a ton of dirty money. To hold that position so securely, he's got to be calculating and totally slick. I guarantee his secret stash is loaded, not to mention the ledgers of smuggled royal goods and his shady under-the-table transactions. Let's go steal that cash and use it as your first survival fund in the palace.
I looked at her with pure admiration, then asked, "But I don't know where the money is hidden." She rolled her eyes at me.
Did you forget that before my family went bankrupt, I was a rich trust fund baby too? The smell of money, whether in my past life, this life, or the next I'll never forget. Plus, what am I right now? I'm a cat! My night vision and sense of smell are unmatched, okay?
Time to get to work. I stood up and got ready to head out. Though Pei Zheng had no idea what I was up to. Seeing me about to leave, he immediately grabbed the dagger behind the door and followed me. With Pei Zheng, this martial arts human bodyguard around, I felt totally secure. With my bestie leading the way, the three of us quickly dodged the patrol guards and sneaked into Eunuch Qian's courtyard. Eunuch Qian's place was way fancier than the servant quarters. The yard even had expensive hosta flowers. The door was locked, and the lights were out. Just as I was wondering how to pick the lock, Pei Zheng pulled out his dagger, slipped it through the door crack and gave a slight flick, and the lock popped open. I gave him a thumbs up. Pei Zheng kept watch at the door, while my bestie and I hunched over and slipped into the room. She scoured the place with her butt in the air, and sure enough, inside the bed frame, under a loose wooden plank, she found a hidden compartment. We opened it up and found several gold bars inside. There was even a top-tier mutton fat jade bracelet. Besides that, there were a few secret ledgers and a stack of letters. I flipped through them. The ledgers recorded all sorts of smuggled royal goods. 2 Eastern pearls smuggled out of the palace. Profit 500 taels. Shoe brocade rewarded by noble consort. Skimmed 3 bolts. Cashed in for 300 tiles. And another section was evidence of Eunuch Xian taking bribes from other servants. Damn. This old dog hit it deep. This is a capital offense in the palace. I stuffed the gold, silver, and evidence into the cloth bag I brought. A rough estimate told me this was a massive fortune. My bestie licked her paw next to me, looking super smug.
How about that? My professional skills are still on point, right?
I grabbed her furry head and kissed her like crazy, restored the hidden compartment to normal, and wiped away our tracks to make sure there were no flaws. Then Peijing, Bestie, and I slipped away quietly. Halfway back, I suddenly remembered that in this harem, the noble consort was incredibly arrogant and absolutely despised her subordinates having sticky fingers and using her name to scam people outside. I immediately turned around and headed toward the noble consort's Jingren palace. Peijing didn't say a word, just guarded me on the way there. Outside Jingren Palace, I shoved some of the most damning smuggling evidence into an envelope and kept the core ledgers for myself as a backup in case she tried to protect her guy. I stealthily slipped the envelope under the stone table that head maid Fang Rua passed by every day. I lightly knocked on the nearby rockery to draw attention, then grabbed Peijing and my bestie and quickly hid. We watched with our own eyes as the early rising maid Fang Rua found the envelope, opened it, and after seeing what was inside, her brows furrowed and her face turned ice cold. Bestie and I exchanged a glance, and both let out a wicked grin. Watching us laugh, Peijing's handsome face, also unnaturally, broke into a soft smile. Over the next 2 days, Bestie and I used Eunuch Chen's banknotes to bribe the purchasing eunuchs for snacks, using our shifts to snoop on palace gossip, and scouted for intel near the Internal Affairs Bureau. On the third day, at the inauguration ceremony for the deputy chief, Peijing and I changed into eunuch uniforms and snuck in, holding my bestie. In front of the main hall's altar, Chief Zheng stood in the center, with the noble consort's people on the right. Su Yujiao squeezed into the front row, smiling like the deputy chief was her sugar daddy. After the whole routine, Chief Zheng unrolled the bright yellow imperial edict.
And read in a shrill voice, by the decree of Her Majesty the Empress. Qian Dishan is promoted to Deputy Chief of Internal Affairs, taking office effective immediately.
The crowd murmured as he finished. Wei Zhong's face flushed bright red on the spot. Grabbing the hand of a maid next to him,
And saying, my godfather made it. I won't have to take crap from anyone anymore.
a few managers who were tight with Eunuch Chen immediately crowded around to congratulate him.
Deputy Chief Qian, congratulations. Please look out for us in the future.
Eunuch Chen smiled so hard his wrinkles folded.
Patting his chest, of course. We're all serving the royal family.
Chief Zheng signaled him to step up and receive the seal. Eunuch Chen smoothed out his python robe, strutting toward the altar like a boss. Right at that moment, a cold shout came from outside the hall.
Hold it! Everyone turned around.
We saw Maid Fang Ruo, the noble consort's right hand, bringing a squad of armed guards, storming in, her voice booming like thunder.
Order from Her Highness the Noble Consort. Qian Deshun has embezzled royal goods and engaged in illicit bribery. The evidence is undeniable. We object to this appointment. Guards, take him down!
The moment the armed guards pinned Eunuch Qian to the ground, the entire hall fell dead silent. Holding my bestie, I hid at the back of the crowd, watching with my own eyes as Maid Fang Ruo slammed a secret ledger right into Eunuch Qian's face.
2 Eastern pearls, smuggled for 500 taels profit. 3 bolts of shoe brocade, skimmed and cashed for 300 taels.
With every item she read out loud, Eunuch Qian's face grew a shade paler. Su Yujiao was so terrified her legs gave out, slumping directly onto the floor. Wei Zhong stood in the crowd, his face turning ashen. Cold sweat rolled down his forehead, drop by drop. His sugar daddy had just collapsed. My bestie bared her teeth in my arms, laughing silently.
See, that Wei Zhong looks like he just swallowed a dead rat. Without Eunuch Chen, he's nothing but a kite with a snapped string.
I gently pinched her ears, the corners of my mouth curving up. As Eunuch Chen was dragged away, he passed by Wei Zhong, his cloudy old eyes glaring dead at him. His lips moved, as if he wanted to say something, but he just spat out a mouthful of bloody foam. Phaeton instinctively took a step back, knocking over the incense burner behind him. The hall was in total chaos. I tugged on Pei Zheng's sleeve, signaling it was time to bail. The 3 of us slipped out of the crowd silently, escaping amidst the mayhem. Back in the servant quarters, I locked the door tight and let out a long breath. Bestie jumped onto the table, crossed her front paws, posing as elegantly as a queen.
Step 1, wrapped up perfectly.
I was just about to praise her when Pei Jang suddenly spoke up.
Who the hell are you two?
He leaned against the doorframe, his dark eyes filled with a scrutiny I'd never seen before. Bestie and I exchanged a look, our hearts skipping a beat. Pei Jang's tone wasn't heavy, but his eyes felt like they could see right through us.
You are not the original Su Ching-hye.
He said it so calmly, like he was just stating a fact.
The old Su Ching-hye wouldn't even dare to speak up, let alone orchestrate something like tonight.
Crap, my cover is blown. Bestie paced anxiously on the table.
What do we do? Should we silence him? Never mind, we can't beat him.
I took a deep breath, deciding to mix truth with lies. I think I had an epiphany after falling in the water. I used to be too cowardly, which is why I got walked all over. Now I get it. In this palace, if you don't bite, you get bitten. Pei Jang was silent for a moment. Then his gaze landed on my bestie.
And this cat isn't just a normal cat either.
Bestie instantly started grooming her paw like a diva, playing the I'm just a cute little kitty innocent act. Pei Jang's lips twitched slightly, but he didn't push it further.
Whoever you are, we now hold each other's secrets.
He turned and walked to the door, with his back to us.
The Imperial Kitchen is getting a fresh batch of fish tomorrow. I'll go score some for you.
The moment the door clicked shut, Bestie collapsed on the table.
Scared the 9 lives out of me. If he'd asked 2 more questions, I was ready to jump out the window.
I flicked her forehead. Chill, we're getting fish tomorrow. Count your blessings. Do we want the fish steamed or braised? Just then, hurried footsteps echoed outside the window, followed by Wei Zhong's creepy, sinister voice.
Keep a close eye on Su Ching-hye. Eunuch Qian's downfall definitely has to do with that bitch.
I held my breath, peeking through the crack in the window. Wei Zhong stood in the alleyway, flanked by 2 unfamiliar young eunuchs. The scratch marks on his face looked especially hideous in the moonlight.
Eunuch Qian's incident happened way too conveniently. Those ledgers were hidden so well, no outsider could have found them. Su Ching-hye crossed me just a few days ago, and right after that, Qian gets busted. Humph. A young eunuch bowed and said,
Don't worry, sir. We've already got people watching her.
Wei Zhong sneered coldly, clutching his prayer beads, and turned, vanishing into the darkness. Bestie perked her ears up in my arms, her cat eyes gleaming faintly.
He suspects us.
I nodded, my brain working in overdrive. I still have the core evidence. That's our trump card. But Wei Zhong has been building his network for years. We can't cut off his connections overnight. We need to make him too busy to bother with us. Bestie rolled her eyes.
Tomorrow you go work in the Imperial Kitchen. I'll go snoop around Wei Zhong's turf and see what other dirt he's hiding.
You're just a cat. What if you get caught? Bestie puffed up her little chest, looking completely disdainful.
Please, what kind of eunuch takes a stray cat seriously?
She was right. In the palace, being a cat is the ultimate invisibility cloak. Early the next morning, Bestie headed out, and I had something else to take care of. Last night, Pei Jang said he could score fish from the Imperial Kitchen, a lowly sweeping eunuch. How could he just take stuff from there? The secrets this man is hiding are probably way deeper than I thought. The Imperial Kitchen was steaming hot. I squatted in the corner sorting veggies, but kept my eyes glued to the inside. Sure enough, Pei Jang showed up. He walked in through the side door and whispered a few words to the chubby eunuch in charge of purchasing. The guy immediately started bowing and scraping, personally wrapping a fat fish in oil paper and handing it to him. That kind of attitude. Since when do they treat a sweeping eunuch like that? Bestie was right. Pei Jang is sketchy as hell. Back in our room that night, Pei Jang served up the steamed fish. Bestie was already back, squatting on the windowsill waiting. When she saw the fish, her eyes practically popped out of her head.
It's base, steamed sea bass. Sushi, in your past life, you must have saved the whole damn galaxy.
She lunged for it, ready to chow down. But I pinned her down. Business first. What dirt did you dig up on Wei Zhong today? Bestie reluctantly retracted her paw and licked her lips.
Wei Zhong spent the entire day going around giving gifts and pulling strings, looking for a new backer. He hit up 3 places: the Imperial Stables, the Imperial Wardrobe, and the Empress's Palace.
The Empress's Palace? I frowned.
Yeah, he kneeled outside her gates for a full incense stick's time, and then A eunuch named Zhao led him inside.
This is bad. If Wei Zhong hooks up with the Empress's faction, he'll be way harder to deal with than Eunuch Qian. Pei-Cheng had been listening quietly beside us. Hearing this, he put down his chopsticks.
Zhao Dahai, he uttered the name.
His eyes instantly turning freezing cold. You know him? Pei-Cheng didn't answer me. He stood up and walked to the window. The moonlight hit his sharply defined profile. He stayed silent for a long time, before turning his head to look at me, his eyes, holding a resolve I'd never seen before.
There are some things I need to tell you both. 12 years ago, the entire Pei family, the Duke of Zhenguo, was executed.
Pei-Cheng's voice was flat, like he was telling a story that had nothing to do with him.
The charge was treason and colluding with the enemy. The evidence was a secret letter found in the Pei Manor.
My heart raced, and Bestie stopped gnawing on her fish, perking her ears up.
That letter was forged. The head judge for the case was Zhao Dahai, who was just an imperial censor back then. He used that case to climb the ranks. And now, he's the Empress's #1 guy.
He unbuttoned his collar, revealing a long, jagged scar right below his collarbone.
I was 7 when our house was raided. A loyal servant risked his life to hide me in the firewood and used a dead kid's body to fake my death. Later, someone smuggled me into the palace. And I was castrated, he paused. Or rather, they thought I was.
Bestie's mouth dropped wide open. So you're the last surviving heir of the Duke? You came to the palace to clear your family's name, of course.
Pei-Cheng couldn't understand her cat speak, so I quickly translated, Pei-Cheng, this cat seems really hyped. Pei-Cheng glanced at Bestie.
And continued, I've been undercover here for 12 years, searching for the original forged letter. Only the original can prove the handwriting was faked.
Did you find it? I asked. No. He clenched his fists tightly.
Zhao Dahai hid it way too well.
Bestie and I exchanged a look, her cat eyes gleaming with excitement.
Bestie, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I nodded slightly. Pei-Cheng, I took a deep breath. Do you need backup? He looked taken aback. Me and my cat, I said with a totally straight face. 12 years of professional thievery experience. Want to team up? Bestie meowed in perfect sync, sticking out a front paw like she was handing over a business card. Looking at this girl and her cat, being so damn serious, Pei-Cheng's lips finally curled into a faint smile.
Where did you two even come from?
I patted Bestie's head, smiling confidently. Just pretend I'm an angel sent to save your ass. But let's get one thing straight. I'm down to clear your name, but the loot? Get split 60-40 my way? Bestie immediately let out an angry hiss. Oh wait, 70-30. Gotta factor in the cat's cut. Pei-Cheng was silent for 3 seconds, then let out a soft laugh.
Deal, that very night.
Our trio was officially formed. A transmigrated maid, a transmigrated black cat, and a fake eunuch who's actually a duke's heir. This was probably the most absurd team in the history of the Great Yan Palace, but I had a feeling that the real show was just getting started. The day after our trio was formed, Wei Zhong sent us a little welcome gift. Su Yujiao popped out of nowhere, wearing a brand new uniform, and strutted over arrogantly to block my path while I was on duty.
Cousin, I heard you went out the night Eunuch Chen got busted.
She tilted her head with a meaningful smirk.
I've already had it written down, planning to hand it to Maid Fang Ruo tomorrow. Tell me, what do you think she'll make of it?
Bestie's fur stood on end on my shoulder.
This toxic pick-me, Eunuch Chen, has only been down for 2 days, and she's already sucking up to Wei Zhong. And now she wants to blackmail us?
I kept a poker face, but my mind was racing. If Maid Fang Ruo started investigating and found out I really did go out that night and linked it to the stolen evidence, I'd be totally screwed. What do you want? Su Yujiao lifted her chin.
Hand over all the banknotes and gold bars you have. Then go confess to Maid Fang Ruo and tell her everything you did in internal affairs was actually taught by me.
Damn, she wants the credit and the cash. I acted hesitant on the surface, while secretly giving Bestie a signal. That night, Bestie spent 4 hours turning Su Yujiao's room upside down from roof to floorboards. Finally, she found the snitch letter stuffed inside her pillow. Clenching the paper in her mouth, she ran straight to the outhouse and dropped it in. When she came back reeking, her cat face was nothing but smug pride.
Mission accomplished. Physical destruction complete.
I held back my laughter and held my nose while giving her a bath. The next day, when Su Yujiao found the letter gone, she nearly lost her damn mind. Meanwhile, I was already sitting in front of Maid Fang Ruo, obediently reporting the internal affairs ledgers.
You're telling me that these messy ledgers left by Qian Deshun make total sense to you?
Maid Fangruo flipped through the books I had reorganized, her brows knitting tighter and tighter, not because she was unhappy with it, but because she was too impressed. To answer you, ma'am, I used to manage the scullery's firewood inventory, so I know my way around numbers. That was obviously a lie. In my past life, I majored in financial management. I might have failed my CPA exams 3 years in a row, but dealing with these ancient ledgers is an absolute cakewalk. I used modern double-entry bookkeeping logic to break down Eunuch Qian's messy accounts, organizing them into clear income and expense columns. I even drew up a simple spreadsheet, using red and black ink to highlight normal versus suspicious expenses. Maid Fangruo stared at that spreadsheet for a very long time.
This way of bookkeeping, I've never seen it before.
I figured it out myself. Please forgive its clumsiness. She looked up at me, a hint of scrutiny added to her gaze.
Your name is Suchinga? From the scullery?
She stared at me for a good while, pondered for a moment, then finally closed the ledger.
Internal Affairs is short-handed right now. I'll report this to Her Highness. You may leave for now.
I curtsied perfectly by the book and backed out. The second I stepped out, I saw my bestie perched on a pillar waiting for me.
How'd it go? Spill.
I curled my lips slightly and gave her a thumbs up. Bestie excitedly spun in circles 3 times.
Promotion and a raise are right around the corner. My dried fish fund is secured.
3 days later, the transfer order came down. Sukinghe was promoted to an 8th-rank female official in internal affairs, officially waving goodbye to the scullery. When I moved into my new place, Bestie was the first one to leap onto the brand new bed, rolled around 8 times, and laid spread eagle on her back.
Inspection passed. 5-star review.
Pei Zheng stood at the door, having just helped me carry my last bag, watching this silly girl and cat duo, a rare smile gracing his face.
Congratulations. I was just about to say something polite back.
When I suddenly noticed in the alley behind him, a shadow darted by. Pei Zheng clearly sensed it too. His smile vanished instantly, and his hand discreetly slid to the dagger at his waist. Someone's watching us. Wei Zhong's men? Pei Zheng lowered his voice and glanced at the alley entrance.
They've been tailing us since yesterday. 2 guys, taking shifts.
My heart tightened. Even though Eunuch Qian fell, Wei Zhong's foundation is still intact. He's just waiting for us to slip up. Bestie jumped off the bed, her cat face dead serious.
Instead of sitting here like sitting ducks, let's give him a headache of his own.
What do you mean?
One of Wei Zhong's minions, a young eunuch named Sun Laifu, has been getting his wages skimmed for 6 months. And he's super salty about it. I overheard him bitching about it last night, saying he has proof of Wei Zhong, using palace passes to place bets at outside casinos.
My eyes lit up. Eunuchs using palace passes to gamble. That's a brutal caning at best. And exile at worst. You want to flip him? Bestie lifted her head. Proudly. Give me 2 days.
I'll go buddy up with Sun Laifu's cat. Trading intel cat to cat is way more efficient than you humans.
I cracked up at her cat networking theory. But I had to admit, the idea was brilliant. Bestie patted her chest fluff.
Relax, I'm not just building an intel network. I'm gonna be the mob boss of all the palace cats.
Her tail stood straight up in the air, looking just like a flag. I looked at her scrawny, but fiercely determined little figure, and suddenly felt this weird sense of relief. With my bestie here, no situation seems too tough to beat. I just never expected her cat mob boss master plan would unfold in such an absolutely wild and unexpected way. It all started with a cat tree. Bestie said to recruit the harem cats, she needed to flex some status first. How exactly do you want to flex? I asked. Build me a cat tree.
Huge and luxurious. Better yet, throw in an observation tower, so I can survey the entire backyard.
I looked at the pile of discarded scrap wood behind our new place, then looked over at Pei Zheng polishing his dagger by the door. Pei Zheng, do you know carpentry? He didn't even look up.
I've studied it. Is there anything...
This man doesn't know how to do? So that night, I drew the blueprints. Pei Zheng did the labor, and Bestie supervised the whole thing. If something wasn't up to her standards, she'd smack the wood with her paw, letting out an impatient meow. For the blueprints, I referenced modern cat cafes' cat trees and designed a 3-tier structure. An enclosed cat bed on the bottom, an open platform in the middle, and a lookout tower on top. We even added a sisal rope post for scratching. Pei Zheng's craftsmanship was surprisingly good. In his hands, the scrap wood was quickly assembled into a perfectly legit structure. The next day, the luxury cat tree officially opened for business. Bestie was the first to jump onto the lookout tower, surveying the entire backyard from her high ground. The results were immediate. The neighborhood strays first watched from a distance. Then 1, 2, 3 of them started creeping closer. Bestie sat regally at the very top, accepting their worship with icy arrogance.
They're coming, they're coming. They're all coming, see that? That's called the platform effect. You give cats a reason to gather, and the cats will just show up.
I literally wanted to hand her the Cat Life Coach of the Year award. By the third day, over a dozen cats had made this place their base camp. That included the orange tabby from the kitchen, the white cat from the wardrobe department, and even the noble consort's Persian cat from Jingran Palace. Using just one cat tree, in 3 days flat, my bestie built a feline intel network spanning half the palace. But what really solidified her status as cat mob boss happened on day 4. In the Imperial Garden, that notorious biggest bully in the harem, the Big Orange Cat, brought 3 of its minions to crash our turf. Big Orange weighed at least 15 pounds, and I'm being super generous here. It plopped its fat butt down beneath the cat tree, staring up at us with malicious intent. Bestie let out a deep, threatening growl, while the 3 minions cheered from the sidelines. Bestie stared down from the lookout tower, her face completely full of disdain.
That's it? That's all you got? And you dare crash my spot?
I watched the standoff nervously, wanting to step in and help. But Bestie stopped me with a single glare.
Stay out of this. This is cat business. A cat's gotta handle it herself.
Big Orange made the first move, its massive body leaping into the air, lunging straight for the middle tier. Right as it closed in, Bestie dodged with a flash, gracefully leaping from the tower onto the opposite wall. Big Orange completely missed, and its entire body got wedged in the gap of the cat tree. All 15 pounds of it were hopelessly stuck. Bestie squatted on the wall, tilting her head as she watched it struggle.
Lose some weight, honey.
Then she dove off the wall, and while Big Orange was still trapped, smacked it right on the back of the head. Fast, precise, and ruthless. Big Orange let out a tragic shriek, finally wrenched itself free, and scurried away in disgrace with its 3 minions. The crowd of spectator cats went wild, a chorus of meows erupting everywhere, like they were cheering. Bestie hopped back onto the lookout tower and elegantly licked her paw. From that day on, the harem cats recognized only one mob boss, codename Boss Black. As for me, before I could even celebrate her victory, that very night, Pei Zheng returned looking grim, bringing some bad news.
Wei Zhong hooked up with Zhao Dahai's network. Tomorrow, he's gonna spike our food.
The intel about Wei Zhong's poisoning plan was dragged right out of that chubby eunuch in the kitchen by Pei Zheng.
Croton powder mixed into the porridge they're delivering tomorrow. It's a small dose, won't kill you, but it'll have you puking and shitting your guts out, so you won't be able to work your shift.
Pei Zheng's tone was icy cold.
He doesn't want to kill you. He wants to ruin the gig you just landed. If you no-show for a few days straight, Maid Fang Ruo will just replace you.
That's so shady. Bestie squatted on the table, squinting her eyes to a slit. Since we know in advance, let's just swap the poison into his own bowl.
How? He's surrounded by people.
Did you forget I'm a cat? A cat prowling the kitchen is totally natural.
Early the next morning, Bestie slipped into the kitchen during shift change, dug up the croton powder, wrapped it in a cabbage leaf, and carried it off. Creeping along the beams, she climbed right above Wei Zhong's teapot. With a gentle flick of her paw, the powder fell silently inside. Later that morning, while discussing business before the Emperor, Wei Zhong's stomach let out a thunderous roar. The Emperor frowned, and before he could finish speaking, Wei Zhong was already clutching his gut and sprinting out. Word is he was stuck on the toilet for 4 hours, and his legs were like jelly when he finally came out. The Emperor was furious, and punished him by making him kneel for another 4 hours. I hid in the kitchen, laughing so hard I collapsed on the table. Bestie elegantly licked her paw.
Leave the professional jobs to the professional cat.
But after the laughs, I knew deep down, Wei Chung had hooked up with Zhao Dahai. The real trouble was still to come. The trio's first loot-splitting meeting was held at my new place. On the table laid out Eunuch Qian's entire secret stash, 4 gold bars, a bunch of banknotes, 1 mutton fat jade bracelet, plus a pile of miscellaneous jewelry. I tallied it up and read the total. Gold bars equal around 1,600 taels. Banknotes 800 taels. Bracelet and jewelry estimated at 300 taels. Grand total 2,700 taels. Bestie's cat eyes went wide.
2,700 taels. In my past life running a company, my accounts didn't even have this much cash flow.
Paging leaned against the wall, saying flatly, "You two split it. I don't need it."
No way, reconnecting with your old loyalists. Costs money. Refusing means you're disrespecting us. Bestie backed me up with an assertive meow. Final split. I get 40% to use for daily expenses and greasing palms. Paging gets 30% to contact old loyalists and gather evidence. Bestie gets 30%. I'll hold on to your share for you. Trading it for dried fish and chicken treats is fine. But I demand a fixed daily ration. No skimming off the top. Once the loot was split, Paging took on the job of taking the gold bars out of the palace to cash them in.
"In 3 days, I'll turn these gold bars into silver."
I nodded, sliding his share of the banknotes over to him. As he took them, his fingertips accidentally brushed against mine. We both froze for a second. He pulled his hand back first, the tips of his ears turning slightly red.
"Thanks." Bestie rolled her eyes.
You guys are literally flirting while splitting loot. You humans are too much.
I looked down and tidied the table. But my heart traitorously skipped a beat. The day after the loot-splitting meeting, Bestie's cat intel network delivered its first major piece of news. Sun Laifu, that minion of Weizhong, whose wages were being skimmed, finally caved in. It took Bestie 3 days to buddy up with his pet tabby cat. Then she squatted outside his window every day, eavesdropping on Weizhong, making him bet at casinos outside with palace passes. If he won, Weizhong took the money. If he lost, Sun Laifu had to cover it. He was already 30 taels in debt. If he couldn't pay, he'd be exiled to guard the royal tombs. 30 taels is enough to buy a person's loyalty. In this palace, 30 taels can buy a life. I pondered for a moment. Pay off his debt. Paging frowned.
"What if he takes the money and snitches?"
He won't. You throw a lifeline to someone backed into a corner, and he'll be more loyal than anyone. I pulled a piece of paper from my sleeve. I also have proof of him going to the casino for Weizhong. Times, locations, pass numbers, it's all recorded. If he dares to betray us, this paper lands right on Chief Zheng's desk. Bestie proudly tilted her head up.
I'm not just the cat boss. I'm the chief intelligence officer.
That night, Pei Zheng slipped 30 taels of silver under Sun Laifu's pillow, along with a note, "If you want to live, tomorrow night at midnight. Meet by the dry well in the backyard." The next day, I quietly worked on ledgers and internal affairs. But in my head, I was counting down. If he shows up, we gain a pond planted right next to Weizhong. Midnight by the dry well in the backyard. A violently shivering figure appeared right on time under the moonlight. Sun Laifu was younger than I imagined, and way more terrified of dying. He kneeled on the ground shaking like a leaf, not even daring to look up.
Lady Sue, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Please just don't expose me."
I crouched down, saying gently, "Get up. I'm not here to hurt you. I gave you that 30 tiles. You don't have to pay it back. In this palace, nobody just gives a young eunuch 30 taels for free. I just need you to do one thing." I held up a finger. "Stay by Wei Zhong's side and tell me who he meets every day and what he says to my cat."
"Cat?"
Bestie stepped out from the shadows right on cue, sitting perfectly straight in the moonlight, her bright green cat eyes staring right at him. Sun Laifu shivered.
"This cat understands human speech?"
"Just assume she does. Every night, just spill the intel to her." Bestie meowed in agreement, her expression completely unreadable. Sun Laifu looked utterly confused, but nodded furiously anyway.
"I'll do exactly as you say."
After sending him off, Bestie jumped onto my shoulder.
This guy's a coward, but his eyes don't dart around. He should be reliable.
I nodded. The pawn is in place. Now, we just wait for Wei Zhong to slip up. But I never expected that the very first piece of intel he brought back would make us all go pale.
Ishoi is meeting Chao Dehai tomorrow to discuss something huge. They're making a move on the noble consort.
I gasped. Sun Laifu's intel was piecemeal, but putting it together sent chills down my spine. Desperate for a backer after losing Eunuch Qian, Michu defected to Zhao Dehai. Zhao Dehai is backed by the Empress, who's been fighting the noble consort for favor for years and always wanted to take her down. Wei Zhong's initiation gift. Poison the noble consort at the mid-autumn banquet. and frame the imperial kitchen. Once the noble consort falls, the empress takes full control. Hai becomes the top dog in the harem, and Weijong rides their coattails to the top. Bestie paced on the table, her tail flicking aggressively.
If something happens to the noble consort, Maid Fangro goes down with her, and your official position is history.
She was right. The noble consort is our biggest safety net. If she goes down, we all go down with her. We have to stop them.
How? We have no hard evidence. Who's gonna believe a young eunuch?
I bit my nails, thinking hard for a while, when suddenly it hit me. We don't need hard evidence. We just need to make it impossible for Weijong to act. Bestie tilted her head at me.
What kind of crazy scheme do you have now?
I smirked. I'm the head coordinator for the Mid-Autumn Banquet. The menu, seating, serving flow, poison testing. I control every single detail. Weidong wants to pull a fast one on my turf? Let's see if he has what it takes. The prep work for the Mid-Autumn Banquet piled up, and the Internal Affairs Bureau was a madhouse. But I handled it systematically. My past life experience as a project manager really came in handy here. I broke the banquet down into 12 modules. Purchasing, prep, table setting, lighting, entertainment, seating, poison testing, serving, drinks, rewards, emergencies, and cleanup. Assigned a specific person to each module, and tracked milestones down to the hour. I even drew up a Gantt chart and stuck it on the office wall. When Chief Jung passed by, he stared at it for ages.
What is this?
A progress chart. X-axis is time. Y-axis is tasks. Color blocks represent deadlines. You can see any delays at a glance. He stared at it for a long time.
Where did you work before this?
The scullery, tending the fires. His mouth twitched, and he turned and walked away. But from that day on, he never questioned my arrangements again. While preparations moved forward, I secretly did 3 things. First, I increased the poison testing from 1 round to 3, each handled by a different person, keeping eyes on each other. Second, I snuck Paging in as a porter, hiding him in the kitchen, to monitor the cooking process from start to finish. Third, I had Bestie and her cat intel network, monitor Weijong's crew day and night. 3 layers of defense, tight as a drum. I'd like to see Weijong try and make a move. The night before the banquet, Sun Laifu passed on some intel. Weijong changed his mind. He's not poisoning the food anymore. My heart sank. Then what's his plan? Sun Laifu's voice trembled.
He's gonna spike Her Highness's wine cup.
And the one pouring the wine is Suyu Jiao, my dear cousin. At some point, got arranged by Weijong into the wine-pouring squad for the banquet. Bestie fluffed up in anger.
That toxic scorpion poisoning the noble consort? Does she even realize? That's a crime punishable by wiping out her entire family line?
Of course she knows. But Weijong must have promised her the moon. Once the blame is shifted, the imperial kitchen will take the fall, not her. Paging said grimly,
Wine pourers serve up close. Food testers only test food, not drinks. That's an old palace rule.
Then we change the rules. I'm the head coordinator. If I add a drink testing step, who's gonna stop me? Paging shook his head.
If you add that step, Weijong will know the plan leaked, and he'll suspect Sun Laifu immediately.
He's right. We can't alert the enemy. I closed my eyes, tapping my fingers on the table. My brain in overdrive? Bestie, remember that incident in our college dorm? Someone kept stealing your yogurt. You didn't camp out to catch them. You just swapped the yogurt with your roommates' wasabi sauce. The next day, the thief exposed themselves. I suddenly opened my eyes. We don't need to stop Suyu Jiao from poisoning the drink, I said slowly, a smirk creeping onto my face. I just need to swap the noble consort's cup. Paging's eyes lit up.
The spiked wine, let it end up in front of someone else.
Exactly, Bestie and I said in unison. I said it out loud. She meowed it in my head. Weijong, at the Mid-Autumn Banquet. The Imperial Garden was lit up with lanterns. Officials and harem consorts gathered together. I wore my official uniform, blending into the back of the serving line. My eyes locked on the main table. The noble consort sat to the emperor's left, dazzling in her phoenix crown and robes. Weijong stood in the corner, with a humble smile, but his eyes kept darting to the pouring station. Suyu Jiao held the wine pot, waiting with lowered eyes behind the noble consort. Everything was going exactly to Weijong's plan. But little did he know, an hour ago, Paging had secretly swapped the wine cups between the noble consort and Weijong. The 2 cups looked identical, except for a hairline scratch on the bottom. Bestie was perched on the glazed roof tiles. After a few rounds of drinks, Su Yujiao stepped up to the noble consort, raising the pot to pour. I saw her sleeve tremble slightly as something dropped into the cup. Then she filled it with wine and smoothly stepped back. The noble consort raised her cup to drink. My heart skipped a beat, but I knew that cup was clean. The real poisoned wine was sitting right in front of Wei Zhong. The emperor raised his glass, and everyone drank together. Wei Zhong threw his head back and drained it. 3 breaths in, his face went pale. 5 breaths, he clutched his throat. 10 breaths, he collapsed to the floor, foaming at the mouth. The entire banquet erupted into chaos.
The Emperor slammed the table. Guards! Get a doctor.
I stood at the back of the crowd, not moving an inch. Bestie leaped down from the roof and landed on my shoulder. Her cat face screamed, "Mission accomplished." But I knew it wasn't over yet. The moment Wei Zhong hit the floor, I clearly saw Zhao Dahai's eyes in the corner, like a venomous snake, dart towards our direction. As Wei Zhong was carried away, the Imperial Garden was a total madhouse. The royal doctor kneeled on the ground, checking his pulse, his face turning darker by the second.
Your Majesty, the wine Wei Zhong drank contained red arsenic.
As soon as he said that, the whole crowd gasped. Red arsenic. This wasn't Croton powder or some petty prank stuff. This was lethal poison. The Emperor was absolutely furious, ordering on the spot.
Investigate who poured the wine at this banquet. Question them all, one by one.
Su Yujiao stood in the crowd, her legs shaking uncontrollably. Her target was the noble consort, but she ended up poisoning Wei Zhong, her own backer. In that moment, her brain must have completely short-circuited. Bestie muttered on my shoulder.
Look at her. I bet she wet her pants.
I ignored my bestie. Looking past the chaotic crowd, my eyes landed on Zhao Dahai in the corner. He stood behind the queen, expressionless. But I noticed his fingers were trembling slightly. Wei Zhong was his pawn. The pawn was ruined before making a move. He must be calculating right now how to clear his name. Sure enough, a second later, Zhao Dahai spoke up.
Calm down, Your Majesty. I believe we should lock down the garden first and detain everyone who handled the wine tonight for interrogation.
Zhao Dahai volunteered to investigate. His motive was obvious. Investigating himself is the best way to muddy the waters. I sneered inwardly, but the Emperor actually nodded.
Granted, Zhao Dahai, I leave this to you and the head guard to investigate thoroughly within 3 days. I want results!
Zhao Dahai accepted the order and thanked him. The moment he stood up, his gaze, sharp as a knife, swept towards my direction again. This time I didn't hide. I met his gaze directly, then slightly lowered my head and showed a submissive smile. Back at my place, I closed the door, and my smile instantly vanished. Zhao Dahai took over the case.
Baito nodded, looking grave. He'll point all clues to the royal kitchen and find a few scapegoats to close the case. Wei Zhong's matter will be covered up. Su Yujiao will also be silenced.
Then what do we do? Pei Zheng looked at me. In his eyes, there was a hint of something I couldn't read.
There is a way, but it's extremely dangerous. We present the real evidence directly to the Emperor.
My bestie suddenly leaped off the windowsill.
Are you out of your mind? The Emperor is surrounded by Zhao's men. You won't even make it past the study doors.
Pei Zheng was silent for a moment. Then he said something that totally stunned both of us.
I can get in. 12 years ago, my father left me something. A token granting direct access to the Imperial study.
A token? My bestie and I widened our eyes in shock. Pei Zheng reached into his clothes and pulled out a palm-sized bronze token. A 5-clawed golden dragon carved on the front. Small text on the back. The bearer of this token acts with my full authority. Is that a get-out-of-jail-free card?
No.
Pei Zheng shook his head.
It's a secret memorial token, granted to my father by the late Emperor. With this, I can enter the study directly, to see the Emperor. The current Emperor doesn't know it exists.
Why didn't you use it sooner?
It can only be used once.
He gripped the token tightly, knuckles turning white.
Once I step into that study, my identity is completely blown. Either I clear my family's name, or I get killed on the spot.
Silence filled the room for a long time. My bestie jumped onto my lap, rubbing her head against my hand.
This is betting with your life.
I know, but if we don't take this step, Zhao Dahai will destroy all the evidence. We 3 will be wiped out sooner or later.
When? I asked.
Zhao Dahai closes the case in 3 days. We only have 1 day left.
He paused.
But I still need one thing. The original forged treason letter. Without the original, the token and confessions won't be enough.
Where is the original?
In the secret room of Zhao Dehai's study.
I took a sharp breath. That's one of the most heavily guarded places in the entire palace. But my bestie suddenly stood up, tail held high.
Leave it to me. No matter how guarded it is, it can't keep a cat out.
She bared her fangs in a smile, looking incredibly confident.
Plus, I've got 20 cat soldiers under my command.
Peijing clutched the forged letter, his knuckles turning white. He stayed silent for a long time.
I'll go tonight.
He changed into a ninja suit, tucked the late emperor's token close to his chest, and checked the short blade in his sleeve. I wrapped the secret letter in 3 layers of oilcloth and slipped it inside his robe. When my fingertips touched his chest, my heart was racing. Even though I hit it well, what if you can't get into the study?
There are no what-ifs.
Under the moonlight, his eyes were dead serious.
If I'm not back by dawn, take the cat and leave the palace immediately. Find old Joe at the coffin shop in the south of the city. He'll arrange for you to get out of the capital.
He paused.
Don't look back.
And nuzzled his face.
You'd better make it back alive. My dried fish fund is counting on you to cash out.
Peijing's lips twitched slightly, and he turned, disappearing into the night. 1 girl and 1 cat waited in the room. Neither of us slept. My bestie crouched on the windowsill, her ears twitching constantly. At the 4th watch in the distance, a sudden urgent tolling of a bell rang out, striking the night sky one after another, coming from the direction of the imperial study. My bestie stood up abruptly, her back arched and fur puffed up. Her pupils narrowed to thin slits.
Ringing the bell in the palace means only 2 things. Either a grand celebration or a huge disaster.
At the 5th watch, Peijing hadn't returned. I sat on the edge of the bed, digging my nails into my palms. My bestie lay frozen on the windowsill. Her ears always pointed toward the study. As the sky began to lighten, someone pounded on the door from outside. My heart pounded like a drum. I pulled the door open. It was Aunt Fangruo, followed by 4 armed guards.
Su Qing, the emperor, summons you to the imperial study immediately.
My bestie bounced off the windowsill.
An audience, not an arrest. Her tone didn't sound murderous.
I followed Aunt Fangruo through the long palace corridors, my mind racing. Pushing open the study doors, the first person I saw was Peijing. He was kneeling in the center of the hall. His ninja suit had been changed into a clean white robe. No shackles, no bloodstains. The emperor sat behind his desk, holding the forged secret letter. His expression was deeply complicated.
Su Jing, Peijing says the evidence to clear his name was found by the 2 of you together.
The emperor paused. His gaze fell on my bestie on my shoulder.
He also claimed that Cat contributed. I want to hear it from you personally. Exactly what did Zhao Dehai do?
Kneeling on the cold golden tiles of the study, I told him everything from the beginning. Eunuch Qian's shady accounts, Wei Zhong's poisoning attempt, Su Yujiao pouring the wine, and Zhao Dehai's secret letter in the hidden compartment. Every single clue, every single timeline, connected flawlessly like stringing pearls. The logical skills I developed from making financial reports in my past life peaked in this very moment. The more the emperor listened, the darker his expression became.
You're saying inside Zhao Dehai's secret compartment, there are letters of foreign collusion?
Bestie, this cat saw it with her own eyes. My bestie sat upright on my shoulder and let out an agreeable meow, looking dead serious. The emperor stared at her for a few seconds, then turned and ordered the guard commander.
Search Zhao Dehai's study immediately. I want him alive. Or dead. Do not let this leak.
A guard took the order and left, his heavy footsteps fading away. The hall fell dead silent. The emperor looked at Peijing kneeling there and stayed quiet for a long time.
Peijing, you've hidden under my nose for 12 years.
Peijing bowed, touching the ground, forehead resting on the golden tiles.
I am guilty, but my father was innocent.
The emperor closed his eyes. After a long moment, he said one sentence. That made my nose sting.
I know, I should have known all along.
Zhao Dehai's study was turned completely upside down. The items found in the secret compartment were even more than what my bestie described. 17 secret letters colluding with the Northern Dai Court, 3 account books of embezzled military funds, and a token used to contact Northern Dai spies. The evidence was rock solid. Zhao Dehai was pinned down on the spot, collapsed on the floor. He wailed, "I'm framed," once, and never got to scream a second sentence, because the emperor didn't give him the chance to speak at all. 3 days later, the imperial edict dropped. Zhao Dihai committed treason. His entire family executed. Wei Zhong's attempted murder, 100 strokes and exiled to Lingnan. Su Yujiao poisoned by association. Thrown into the sky prison to await trial. The Pei family, Dukes of Zhenguo, were cleared of all charges, restoring their titles and honors. Pei Jing inherited the title of Duke's heir. The day the news spread across the capital, I stood in the courtyard of the Internal Affairs Dept, watching the sunset. Zoning out for a long time, my bestie crouched at my feet, unusually quiet.
Bestie, we won.
Yeah, we did.
So what's next?
Before I could answer, a little eunuch ran over panting.
Miss Su, the young lord is in the study seeing the emperor, saying he wants to marry you.
Marry me? I almost threw my account book across the yard. My bestie literally rolled down the stairs.
Is he insane? You're an 8th rank maid. He's a duke's heir. The social gap between you two is massive.
I was panicking too. Not that I didn't want to marry him, but this was way too fast. We haven't even officially dated yet. That evening, Pei Zheng came to see me, wearing a brand new noble's robe, a jade belt around his waist, transforming entirely from a dusty fake eunuch into a noble lord straight out of a storybook. He looked drop-dead gorgeous, but I still took a step back. Are you serious?
I've never been more serious about anything.
My bestie crouched on the table, crossing her front paws.
I have a question. If she marries you, who's going to buy my dried fish?
I translated for her. Pei Jing looked at my bestie and bowed deeply in all seriousness.
The heir's estate has a 3-acre fish pond, daily fresh fish in unlimited supply, plus a 50-tael silver allowance to set up a special fund. Dedicated staff to buy premium seafood, all year round.
My bestie's eyes lit up.
Deal. I approve this marriage.
Hey, I'm the main character here. But my protest was completely drowned out by my bestie's loud purring. The speed at which this wedding was set up was beyond my imagination. When the noble consort heard I was getting married, her first reaction wasn't congratulations. It was absolutely not.
I haven't used you enough yet.
She held onto my hand and wouldn't let go, her eyes even getting red. Finally, she came up with a plan. She asked the emperor to adopt me as her goddaughter.
With this official tie, you'll be a princess. Marrying the heir won't be beneath him.
She clapped her hands proudly.
Plus, during holidays and festivals, you'll have to come to the palace to pay respects. I can still boss you around.
And just like that, I went from a fire-stoking maid in the laundry all the way up to an honorary princess. My bestie benefited too, granted the title Auspicious Spirit by the Emperor, with a pure gold bell hung around her neck. Wearing that bell, she strutted 3 laps around the courtyard, head held high with every step.
From a stray cat to a royal divine feline, my glow-up journey is even more inspiring than yours.
The wedding date was set for the 18th of next month. I started preparing for the wedding. The Gantt chart came in handy again.
You even planned the guest flow and wedding favors? Were you a wedding planner in your past life?
No, but I attended 37 weddings in my past life. I've seen it all. Everything was ready. All we needed was the perfect wedding. But the word perfect never exists in the palace. 3 days before the wedding, disaster struck. Su Yujiao escaped from the sky prison. To be exact, someone broke her out. Though Zhao Dihai was executed, the hidden network he built over the years wasn't completely wiped out. The remnants kidnapped Su Yujiao at night and spread rumors all over the capital, saying the Duke's case was wrongly overturned and Pei Zheng was a northern Dai spy. My bestie bristled with rage.
Are these guys unkillable roaches?
Pei Zheng remained very calm.
Zhao Dahai's men are just grasping at straws. They can't turn the tide. But Su Yujiao escaping is indeed a hidden danger.
Where could she go? In less than the time it takes to burn a joss stick, 7 cats gathered from all directions. The feline intel network went into full search mode. I didn't sleep that night, leaning on the table, staring at the cat-drawn map of the capital. At the third watch, an orange cat holding a piece of torn cloth ran back. My bestie inspected the cloth, her cat face changing abruptly.
It's from Su Yujiao's clothes, found at the abandoned Taoist temple down south. But that temple is the headquarters of the capital's underground cult?
The night before the wedding, the trio mobilized again. But this time, Pei Zheng wouldn't let me go.
You're getting married tomorrow. I can't risk anything happening to you.
You're getting married tomorrow, too. You can't have anything happen either. We were at a stalemate. Finally, my bestie slammed a paw on the table.
Stop arguing. He goes to fight. You stay home and direct the operation. I'll handle the intel relay. Clear division of labor. Highly efficient.
Peijing took 12 of his old trusted men and surrounded the abandoned temple that night. I sat in my room, relying on my bestie's cats to relay messages. Every second was agonizing. At the fourth watch, the last messenger cat ran back. My bestie listened and let out a long sigh.
It's done. Suyu Jiao was captured alive. The cult remnants were completely wiped out. Peijing wasn't hurt. His clothes just got torn up.
I slumped into my chair, tears falling without warning. My bestie jumped onto my lap, rubbing her fluffy head against my hand.
Stop crying. You're going to be a bride tomorrow. You'll look ugly with swollen eyes.
I laughed through my tears, hugging her tight and rubbing her fur. Bestie, thank you.
Don't thank me, we're like family.
She let out a yawn.
But the fish at the wedding must be sea bass. That's my only demand.
A 10-mile red dowry procession, gongs and drums blaring. Peijing arrived on a tall horse to pick me up, wearing a bright red wedding robe, making his sharp brows and starry eyes look striking. Crowds of onlookers packed the entire street. Inside the bridal sedan, my bestie sat on my lap, her golden bell jingling.
Nervous?
A little.
Don't worry. If he treats you badly, I'll scratch him.
My bestie sat right on the ceremonial altar, overseeing the entire process. Guests whispered to each other.
Saying the Duke of Zheng's heir getting married and bringing a cat along is a total first.
In the bridal chamber, red candles flickered. Peijing lifted the veil and looked at me with a smile. It wasn't his usual restrained, guarded smile. It was a genuine smile radiating from his heart.
I've waited 12 years for this day.
My nose stung, and I was just about to say something sweet when an impatient meow from my bestie came outside.
Where's the sea bass? You promised sea bass. The ceremony is over, and the fish isn't served yet. Your Pei family is too unreliable.
Peijing smiled helplessly and got up to hurry the kitchen. I sat on the bridal bed, laughing so hard I cried. On our first night, they served 6 sea bass. When my bestie finished the 4th one, she finally burped in satisfaction.
All right then, this in-law family barely passes.
The first month after the wedding, I got restless. Life as a duchess is relaxing, but deep down I'm a workaholic, corporate slave, looking at the 3-acre fish pond in our backyard and all the cats running around the courtyard. An idea popped into my head. Open a business, the capital's first cat cafe. I provide the business plan. Peijing provides the funding, and my bestie provides the cat network. We chose a spot on the busiest street in the East City, a 2-story building. First floor for tea and petting cats, second floor for private VIP rooms. My bestie personally interviewed every single candidate cat. Her standards were incredibly strict.
This one's too fierce, out. This one's too ugly, out. This one, fine. Barely has a fraction of my beauty.
On opening day, the noble ladies of the capital swarmed in. Paired with fresh tea and exquisite pastries, it was basically an ancient version of high tea paradise. My bestie held court in the VIP room upstairs as the cafe's top star, accepting VIP reservations. One petting session cost 10 taels. Taking a picture cost 20 taels. Getting her to show her belly cost 50 taels, depending on her mood. The first month's revenue broke 3,000 tiles. My bestie lay on her exclusive velvet cushion, surrounded by piles of dried fish.
This is the retirement life I've always dreamed of?
I laughed as I flipped through the ledger. Trouble knocked. In the 2nd month, someone wanted to crash the party. The crasher was no small fry. The legitimate daughter of Marquis Yong'un, Zhao Wanqing, the queen bee of the capital's socialite circle. She brought 7 or 8 noble ladies, swarming the entrance of the cafe.
A lowly maid from the laundry. How dare you open a cafe to scam nobles?
My bestie crouched on the 2nd floor window, her eyes narrowing.
She's looking for trouble. This woman calls the shots in the socialite circle. If she leads a boycott against us, our business is doomed.
I walked out carrying a tea tray, beaming with a smile. Welcome, Miss Zhao. Today everything is on the house. Please join us in the VIP seats upstairs. Zhao Wanqing didn't expect me to be so accommodating. She was slightly taken aback. I personally brewed her a pot of Longjing tea. My bestie played along, hopping onto the table, showing her belly to be rubbed. A 50-tael premium service completely free. After one incense stick burned out, Zhao Wanqing's expression went from hostile to hesitant, and finally to pure enjoyment.
This cat is pretty sweet.
I struck while the iron was hot and leaned in, whispering a sentence. Zhao Wangqing's eyes widened with excitement.
Are you telling the truth?
I smiled and didn't answer. I just slid over a gold-stamped invitation. 4 words were written on the invite. Elite socialite gathering. What was hidden in this invitation? And why did Zhao Wangqing's eyes light up? The elite socialite gathering was a modern concept I brought over as an ultimate weapon. The core concept was simple. Exclusive networking combined with rare experiences. On the 2nd floor of the cafe, I set up a secret room. I only invited the capital's top 12 noble ladies to attend. The requirement to enter was to bring 1 exclusive private collection for exchange and appraisal. To put it bluntly, it was the ancient version of a socialite high tea combined with a swap market. Zhao Wangqing brought a Duan inkstone. The Duke of An's daughter brought Persian brocade. Even the Queen's niece sent someone over with a pair of jade earrings. My bestie played the hype woman, weaving between the ladies acting cute. Whoever gave the most dried fish got a lap cuddle. After the exclusive event wrapped up, all 12 noble ladies became diehard VIP members of the cafe. Before she left, Zhao Wangqing grabbed my hand and asked,
When are you hosting the next one?
My bestie yawned.
The essence of networking is exchanging benefits. You give them face and an exclusive circle. They give you money and connections. Works both past and present.
The cafe's business was fully secured, but the good times didn't last long. Pei-Cheng came home one day, looking very grim, holding a military order.
Urgent report from the border. Northern Dai invaded. The Emperor ordered me to lead the troops.
The teacup in my hand paused in midair. It was cloudy the day Pei-Cheng left. He stood at the gates in his silver armor, looking like a completely different person. From the dusty fake eunuch I first met in the palace.
Wait for my return.
You better come back alive. Otherwise, your 3-acre fish pond will be converted into storefronts. He smiled, got on his horse, and didn't look back. My bestie sat on my shoulder, watching the cavalry disappear down the street. We were silent for a long time.
Don't worry. With his skills, he won't die.
I didn't say anything. From that day on, I managed the cafe during the day and used the Cat Intel network at night to monitor the capital's movements. Although Zhao Dahai's remnants were mostly wiped out, people get restless during wartime. Anything could happen. My bestie compiled intel every night, half a day faster than Imperial spies. A month later, bad news hit. Sun Laifu risked everything to deliver a secret message. The front line's rations had been cut off. It wasn't the Northern Dai. Someone in the capital was messing around. The minister in charge of military supplies took a kickback and sold the rations to black market merchants. The front lines are in critical danger. Pei-Cheng's army hasn't eaten in 2 days. I slammed the ledger shut and stood up. Bestie, set up a meeting with Zhao Wangqing tomorrow. The next day, an emergency socialite meeting was held. But this time, no tea, no petting cats. I got straight to the point. Ladies, many of your fathers and brothers serve as officials in the court. The frontline supplies are cut. The soldiers are starving, waiting for court funding procedures. Will take at least 10 days. The front lines can't wait 10 days. I rolled out a chart, listing detailed supplies and transportation routes. I plan to crowdsource civilian supplies and ship them directly to the front. Everyone here, donate money, donate grain, donate carriages if you have them. All contributions will be publicly recorded. The court will reimburse at market price after the war. Plus, you'll get the Emperor's personal commendation. Zhao Wangqing was the first to slam the table.
Marquis Yonggan's estate pledges 3,000 stones of grain.
Once someone led the way, the rest of the ladies quickly followed. In one afternoon, we gathered enough supplies to feed the front lines for half a month. My bestie crouched on the ledger, looking very pleased.
This is what you call crowdfunding. Without spending a dime of our own, we earned a great reputation for patriotism.
The supplies were ready, but who would escort them was another issue. The road to the border was dangerous. I looked at the map and made a decision that everyone objected to. I'll go myself.
My bestie widened her eyes. Are you crazy?
My bestie insisted on coming along. You stay and watch the shop.
The shop can close, but you can't die. If you're going, we go together.
I couldn't win. The convoy left the next day. 20 grain carts rolled out of the gates. Marquis Yonggan's estate sent 50 guards. Pei-Cheng's old squad secretly tailed us. My bestie crouched in the carriage. Less than an hour out of the city, she started throwing up like crazy. car sick and vomiting everywhere. I used some cloth strips to tie her into a cotton-padded basket, keeping her secure, like an ancient car seat. She slumped in the basket, glaring at me weakly.
I'm never being a cat in my next life.
On the third day, passing Tongguan, we ran into trouble as expected. A group of bandits blocked our path. The burly leader carried a huge broadsword, smirking at us.
Leave the carts, and you can walk away.
I lifted the carriage curtain, checked out their formation, then looked down at my bestie. Although she was still car sick, she forced herself to stand up.
Just a few petty thieves. Have the guards hold them from the front. I'll take the cats and flank them.
Aren't you car sick?
I get car sick, not fight sick.
The fight ended faster than expected. Our guards advanced in formation from the front. My bestie took the 3 cats we brought and snuck behind the bandits. What can cats do? The answer is aim for the eyes. 3 cats pounced from the trees at once. The bandit leader's face was shredded. He screamed and dropped his blade. The guards charged forward and took them all down in seconds. My bestie hopped back onto the cart, carrying a bandit's earring in her mouth. She spat it out in front of me.
War trophy, you're welcome.
The convoy arrived safely at the front lines. At the camp, Pei-jung stood by the gates, his armor covered in dust, dark circles from sleepless nights under his eyes. Seeing me hop off the cart, he froze for 3 whole seconds. Then he strode over, yanking me into his arms, holding me tight.
Why are you here?
Bringing you food. He chuckled softly, resting his chin on my head. Refusing to let go, my bestie rolled her eyes from the cart.
Hurry up and unload the food. Thousands of men are starving here. Stop the PDA.
Rations moved into storage. Army morale skyrocketed. But Pei-jung told me the battle isn't over yet.
The Northern Dai main force is 30 miles away. The final battle is tomorrow.
I should have stayed in the rear waiting for news. But I didn't. Inside the frontline tent, Pei-jung laid out the map. While he explained the battle plan, I noticed a weakness in the enemy camp. Their granary is at the northeast corner, with only a single fence and minimal guards. Pei-jung looked up at me. I smiled. You attack from the front. Draw their attention. I'll have my bestie take her cat squad and sneak in from the northeast to burn their rations.
That's reckless.
The repeating crossbow you modded for me is still in my carriage. If anything goes wrong, I can protect myself. He stared at me for a long time and finally sighed.
Since when have you become so fearless?
Since I time traveled here, I've feared nothing. My bestie sharpened her claws on the table, her cat face full of thrill.
Finally, my turn for a military op. Feline Special Forces, move out!
That night, Pei-jung led a frontal assault on the enemy camp. At the same time, my bestie took 12 wild cats, recruited from nearby villages, and silently infiltrated their granary. Cats can't start fires, but they can gnaw through oil lamp ropes. The lamps crashed down, sparks flying onto the dry hay. The northeast corner exploded in flames. The Northern D Army panicked completely. Their commander thought they were flanked and split his forces to defend the rear, opening a massive gap in their front lines. That was exactly what Pei-jung waited for. Thousands of cavalry flooded in like a tide, war drums shaking the heavens. The battle raged on for the entire night. By dawn, the enemy routed 30 miles back, their commander captured alive. I stood on the hilltop, watching the sunrise over the battlefield, slumping to the ground, totally exhausted. My bestie ran out from the dark, her fur nearly scorched bald, but her eyes shining incredibly bright.
We won! We actually won!
She jumped into my arms, covered in ash and smelling like smoke. I hugged her tight, laughing and laughing, until the tears started falling. Haizoro de Obar on his horse, his silver armor stained with blood. He dismounted right in front of me. He took a knee, not to his soldiers, but to me.
My wife, the war is over. Let's go home.
My best friend lifted her head while in my arms.
Home? Which home?
I rubbed her head. Back to the capital, to our cafe. Back to the Duke's estate with a 3-acre fish pond. My bestie closed her eyes in pure satisfaction.
All right then, but we're taking a boat back. I'd rather die than take a carriage again.
On our triumphant return, a fast rider came from the capital, bearing the emperor's edict. Pei-jung was promoted to Duke of Zhengguo. I was named a first-rank noble lady. My bestie's title was upgraded to Guardian Divine Cat. Her gold bell was upgraded to 1 set with jade. I looked at the imperial edict. With all its flowery calligraphy, suddenly remembering how just half a year ago, I was stoking fires in the laundry department. My bestie yawned.
Stop being so emotional. Start thinking about how to expand our cafe branches when we get back.
The day we returned, the whole capital came out. Zhao Wanqing ran the cafe while I was gone. Not only did it not lose money, she actually opened a second branch.
After you left, the merch for your cat sold like crazy. Fans with cat paw prints, necklaces matching her gold bell. We couldn't keep them in stock.
Zhao Wanqing waved the ledger proudly. My bestie glanced at the revenue numbers, her eyes squinting in joy.
I actually became the top influencer in the capital.
Our first night back at the estate, Peijing and I sat in the courtyard. The moonlight was beautiful, the scent of osmanthus drifting from the backyard.
What do you plan to do next?
Open franchises. I leaned on his shoulder. Luoyang, Hangzhou, Jinling, I'm opening in all of them. He looked down and smiled, wrapping his arm around my shoulder. My bestie took over the biggest osmanthus tree in the yard, lounging on a branch, swishing her tail. Suddenly her ears perked up.
Bestie, I just remembered something.
What? The courtyard was silent for a long time. Osmanthus flowers fluttered to the ground. I didn't answer. Honestly, I had thought about it. I thought about it right after crossing over, but then I got too busy and forgot. Now the war is over. The business is booming and I'm married. The question popped up again. My bestie lay on the osmanthus tree, swishing her tail back and forth.
To be honest, I don't really want to go back.
Why?
If I go back, I'll just be a normal person again. No cat army, no intel network, and nobody paying me 50 taels to rub my belly.
She rolled over, showing off her chubby tummy.
Plus, if I go back, I have to work again. Squeeze onto the subway, pay my mortgage, and you'll have to work overtime. We'll both be super busy. Even hanging out will require scheduling. How could that beat this? I just snuggle into your lap, and I get everything.
She totally cracked me up. Peijing sat beside me, utterly confused. But he didn't ask. He had long gotten used to me talking to my cat. Then we won't go back.
Really?
I looked at the moonlit courtyard, looked at the man beside me and the cat in my lap. This is how I want to spend my life. My bestie let out a long yawn, snuggling deeper into my arms.
Then remember this. In our next life, I'm going to be your daughter, and keep spending your money.
The moonlight illuminated the osmanthus flowers across the yard, the scent overwhelmingly sweet. The faint sound of a night watchman's drum drifted from afar. 1 beat, 2 beats, 3 beats. The capital's night is so quiet, so nice.